What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hoops and Stuff podcast. I'm your host, Isaac, and today we're just going to be talking about the Christmas Day NFL games and Christmas Day NBA games. So we're going to start with the NBA games, and our first one is the Bucks and Knicks, and that's the first game of the day, so we're just going to go with them first. And last night, the Bucks beat the Knicks 130 to 111 for their 7th straight victory. So the Bucks are clearly playing some great basketball. The Knicks have also been playing great though, so that's kind of a hard team to bet against in a normal situation, but this is the Bucks. They have some great players on their team. Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, two future Hall of Famers right there, and a couple other good players like Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis. So they have a pretty decent team over there. But the Knicks also have players like Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle. Sorry, I couldn't think of his name. The Knicks also have R.J. Barrett. But another great player for the Knicks that I feel like is a little overlooked is Immanuel Quickley. And he does have quite a bit of talk around him, but he is a great player. And I think that he has potential to be a all-star in the future. So they have a pretty good team on that Knicks roster, but I think the Bucks are just going to be able to get it done with Giannis's power, with driving to the rim, and the shooting of Damian Lillard. It's just a hard to beat duo, and they have great defense from a player like Brook Lopez, who was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate last year. And they also have Bobby Portis, who's obviously another big guy. And as for Brook Lopez, he has had, against the Knicks last night on December 23rd, he had 1 block. Against the Magic on December 21st, he had 2 blocks. And against the Spurs on December 19th, he had 6 blocks. So he is a great defensive player. And on the Magic, he also had 2 steals. So he, like I said, he is a great defensive player to go along with the powerful finishing of Giannis Antetokounmpo and the phenomenal shooting of Damian Lillard and also Chris Middleton. So I think that this Bucks team is gonna blow out the Knicks just like they did last night. Next up, we have the Warriors and the Nuggets, and this is a really hard game because clearly the Nuggets are the favorites, but I am obviously a huge Warriors fan, and it's hard to bet against your own team, so I'm going to have to go with the Warriors. I think that Steph is going to be able to get it done. He has the most clutch time field goals made this season so far. So I have to go with the Warriors. I think that Steph will play phenomenal. We've been getting great basketball out of Jonathan Kuminga since Draymond Green got suspended. And also Trayce Jackson-Davis has been playing good for us, who was like our 57th pick in the draft. So that's another good player that we have. We also have Klay Thompson, who has been improved his shooting, because I feel like last year he just wasn't playing at that same like intensity that he was before his injuries. And we get those assists out of Chris Paul. Chris Paul's an amazing playmaker for us. But the only thing that we really struggle with is rebounding. And Trayce Jackson-Davis is a player who brings us phenomenal rebounding. 2 nights ago from when I'm recording this. So December 22nd, Trace Jackson Davis had 15 rebounds, which is great rebounding numbers, especially for a rookie like that who doesn't have crazy NBA experience. And he's getting more minutes than a starter like Kevon Looney. And I just think that he is going to be a phenomenal. I don't know if he'll be like an all-star, but I think he'll be a great role player for us in the future, probably. And we've known Kevon Looney to also be a great rebounder, so maybe he's possibly learned some tips from Kevon Looney. But as for this Nuggets team, they have that great duo of Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic is the best center in the game. No questions asked. I would say Nikola Jokic is better than Joel Embiid, even though, don't get me wrong, Joel Embiid is a great center, and he's definitely second best behind Jokic, but I think Jokic is definitely better than Joel Embiid. Jokic can shoot the three ball, so can Joel Embiid, but Jokic is the best big man playmaker I've seen ever play basketball. Like, he averages a triple. I don't know if he averages a triple double this season. We can check on that, but I know in past seasons he has averaged triple doubles, which is great for a center because not a lot of centers have that playmaking game. And as of right now, Jokic does not average a triple double, but he's one assist off from averaging a triple double. So he's definitely getting triple doubles, just not averaging them. But we can look and see. So he averaged a triple double last season. That's the only season he's averaged a triple double, though. I think I'm surprised by that, actually, because I thought there was a couple of seasons where Jokic was averaging a triple double, but I guess not. But he's been pretty close in multiple seasons, like 2021 to 22. He had 8 assists with 14 rebounds per game and 27 points. So he's, like I said, he's a phenomenal playmaker in general, and he can score the ball. He can get rebounds for you. I mean, he's averaged 12 or more rebounds in the last 3 seasons. So he's a great rebounder. And Jamal Murray, since he's came back from injury, has been doing okay. He's been a pretty solid player. They've got Reggie Jackson, who is a potential Sixth Man of the Year. And Michael Porter Jr. has been playing decent basketball as well. So this is a really good Nuggets team, and I think that it'll be a big challenge for this Warriors on Christmas Day. But I don't think it's an impossible challenge, and I think that they have a good chance at beating them. Next up, we have a big game with the Celtics and the Lakers. I think that this will be a really good game with the fact that the Lakers just beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Celtics just are coming off of a loss to the Warriors not that long ago, who were supposed to lose. And a lot of Celtics fans will say that the only reason they lost is because they didn't have Kristaps Porzingis, but the Warriors were without Draymond Green and Gary Payton II, who are their 2 best defenders, I'd say. But since then, the Celtics have won by a pretty good margin in their last 2 games, and they did have Kristaps Porzingis back. And against the Kings, they had 5 players score over 20 points. So this is a very talented Celtics team, I'd say, but clearly not impossible to beat. And I mean, they also played the Clippers yesterday. And I mean, Jason Tatum had a great game. He dropped 30 points. Jaylen Brown dropped 24. But again, we didn't see Kristaps Porzingis play. So it seems like Kristaps Porzingis being injured is a big problem for the Celtics team. And we are going to check real quick. I'm going to check and see if Kristaps is healthy. But I think that'll be a big determining factor to whether or not the Celtics win. Because he seems to be a big player for the Celtics team. Okay, so it looks like he has a left ankle sprain. And I don't know. I think that'll be a hard injury for him to play through against the Lakers. But I guess it's a possible injury for him to play through. Let's see here. It doesn't say anything about if he's playing tomorrow, but it does say that he was obviously ruled out for that Clippers game. So I say if Kristaps plays, the Celtics win against the Lakers. But if he does not play, I think it'll be a close game. And I think that the Lakers might be able to pull away with the win if Kristaps does not play. But maybe we'll get to see another dunk on LeBron from Jason Tatum. I think that'd be pretty cool. But I doubt we see that happen. And as for this Lakers team, I guess they had a new starting lineup last game. Last game. Sorry, against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that seemed to have helped them come out on top, I guess you could say, because LeBron had 40 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists, which are crazy stats.
Horford, ball fake, three-pointer, got it! Al Horford from downtown. Tatum guarded by Beverly. Brogdon steps back straight on.
To be sure. Because I feel like I think that a starter in their rotation should definitely be Austin Reeves. I really think that he is a talented player. But they were having him come off the bench for quite a while. And I think Jared Vanderbilt may have ended up in the starting lineup. So maybe Jared Vanderbilt is making a change for this team. Let's try to see if they have it. They have the same one that they had before. They had the same depth chart as before on ESPN. So I'm not too sure what they'll be running with on their depth chart, but obviously that depth chart will include LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So we'll see how they play on Christmas Day against the Celtics, but I think that there is a better chance for the Celtics team to win than the Lakers. Next up, we have 76ers and Heat. So Jimmy Butler will be going against his old team. And I think this will be a really good game. But I'm going to say the 76ers come out on top with the win, just because they have so much talent on their team. Tobias Harris has been playing great basketball lately. I feel like Joel Embiid has been playing great basketball for years, and Tyrese Maxey has been playing great basketball as of lately as well. I feel like the only problem with the 76ers team is their depth. I feel like they have those three big players, and then they have like Kelly Oubre, who is an okay player, and that's really it. So I think that could be a problem against this Miami Heat team, who has great players on their bench. They have Duncan Robinson on their bench, and he played phenomenal in their last game against the Hawks. He dropped like 27 points or something. And they also have Kevin Love on their bench. So the Heat have a pretty solid team. I mean, they also have Bam Adebayo, who's a starter. They have Tyler Hero, who's a starter. And it looks like Jimmy Butler didn't play in that game against the Hawks. So hopefully he comes back and plays for this game against the 76ers. But I think that'll be a question mark as of right now. But Jimmy Butler's injury, let's see if we can find what his injury is. We do have an injury status for the game tomorrow, and let's see what it says. It says that Jimmy Butler is questionable with a calf injury. So if Jimmy Butler plays in this game, I think that it'll be a good fight from the Heat, but I still think that the 76ers will pull out on top. And I think that if Jimmy Butler doesn't play, I think that it'll be a little bit of a bigger gap. I think that it'll be a bigger gap in the score without him, just because he is obviously their star player. So I think it'll be hard for them to win without him. But as for the 76ers, they are missing De'Anthony Melton, who has been playing pretty good basketball for them. He is questionable with a thigh injury. Patrick Beverley, who is a great defender, is questionable with a heel injury. And Mohamed Bamba, Mo Bamba, who is going to be their backup center, is also questionable with an illness. But I mean, I don't think he's that great of a contributor towards this team. I think that he just plays a little bit of backup minutes along with like another big like Paul Reed maybe, who is a decent young player but nothing great. So I think that the final decision is going to be 76ers pull out on top no matter what. So next up we have the Mavs and the Suns, and this is going to be our final NBA Christmas Day game. And for the Mavs last game, we seen Derek Lively out with an ankle injury and Kyrie Irving out for a heel injury. So Kyrie Irving and Derek Lively seem to be questionable, possibly, but it seems as if Luka Doncic is going to play, because if I am correct, I want to say Luka Doncic did not play against the Rockets, which is the main reason why the Dallas Mavericks lost by nearly 30 points to the Rockets. Yes, he did not. Luka Doncic didn't play. Kyrie Irving didn't play, and Derek Lively also didn't play, so that's 3 starters that they were missing against the Rockets, which is the only reason they lost. So, against the Suns, who are going to be missing Bradley Beal because he's out for an ankle injury and won't be reevaluated till the beginning of January. And they are also, they have an injury with Josh Okogie, who has a hip injury, it says, who missed their last game against the Kings, and also a day-to-day injury with Yusuf Nurkic. I feel like this will be a hard battle for the Phoenix Suns just because the Mavs will have Luka, obviously, but possibly not Kyrie and possibly not Derek Lively. I think that the Suns will win this, but I think that it'll be a challenge for Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. But like I said, I think that they should be able to pull out on top because Kevin Durant has been playing phenomenal basketball. He's averaging like 30 points per game or something, which is surprising just because I feel like he wasn't doing anything crazy for this Phoenix Suns team at the end of last season. But he has seemed to have like just gotten used to playing for this team. He is their leading scorer, averaging 31. Sorry, not 30, 31. But with Yusuf Nurkic being out, they're going to lose, or potentially being out, sorry. They could maybe lose their leading rebounder and leading blocker. He averages a block and 10 rebounds per game, which is decent numbers. But as for Devin Booker this season, he is averaging 28 points, which is another solid number. And they also have Eric Gordon, who's playing decent basketball with 13 points per game. And Grayson Allen's averaging 12 points per game. So I think that they have enough players healthy to win this game against the Mavericks, even if Kyrie Irving and Derek Lively play, just because this is a pretty talented Suns team. Next up, we have the NFL, and our first game of the day is going to be the Raiders and Chiefs at 1 p.m., and this is obviously going to be a whole day of like rivalry games, but this game against the Raiders and Chiefs is a big one because they were getting, during their games last season, I feel like they were getting pretty intense. Like they were, I don't really know how to describe it. They were just like intense games, I feel like. So I think that this will be a pretty good game. But I think that the Chiefs pull out on top, even though Aiden O'Connell has been playing solid football, and the Raiders themselves, and like all together, have been playing decent football. I mean, they only lost to the Dolphins by 1 score, and in mid-November, they lost to the Chiefs by 2 scores towards the end of November, but they only lost to the Vikings by 3, but it was 3-0, so not a great game there. But against the Chargers last week, the Raiders scored 63 points on the Chargers defense, and the Chargers offense only came back with 21. So they clearly had a great offensive game last game on the Chargers defense, but this is a different team with the Chiefs, obviously, and they are a lot better on defense than the Chargers, I feel like. So I think that the Chiefs will win this game. Their offense is okay. I mean, they don't have any receivers really besides like Rashee Rice. But the Raiders have a pretty solid receiving core with Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams, and they also have Josh Jacobs, who I know was recently questionable, but we can try to see the injury status for this game with the Raiders versus the Chiefs. So I think that this will be a pretty good, I think it'll be a pretty good game in total, and I think it could definitely be a close game, but I think that the Chiefs will definitely be able to snag the win just because, I mean, they have Patrick Mahomes, who's great, like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So for the Chiefs, we have Jerick McKinnon out, Kadarius Toney out, and Donovan Smith out. Mecole Hardman is on injury reserve, so he's not going to be playing. Isaiah Pacheco was questionable. Travis Kelce has a neck injury. Let's see. Rashee Rice had a hamstring injury, and that's L'Jarius Sneed had a knee injury. But some of these players are not, like, they might play, but they're questionable. And as for the Raiders, we see, like I said, Josh Jacobs is questionable. Colton Miller is questionable on their offensive line. Max Crosby has a knee injury, but it doesn't say he's questionable. And that's pretty much it for like their big injuries, I think. So, I mean, Josh Jacobs, I mean, I feel like he's a hard player to, like, I don't really know how to explain. Like, he's a hard player to bet on doing good just because of, he's a very inconsistent player, I'd say. Like, he'll have a good week, and then he'll have a couple bad weeks, and then he has a couple good weeks, and then he has a bad week, and then a couple more good weeks, a couple more bad weeks. Like, he's just a very inconsistent player. He doesn't score every game like some running backs could. But he's a good player. Like, in total, he is a good player, but just inconsistent. So I'm still going to stick with the Chiefs winning this one, even with a injured Isaiah Pacheco, because it doesn't say he's questionable, and same with Rashee Rice. But I have the Chiefs pulling out the win. Next up, we have the Giants versus the Eagles, and that's going to be at 4:30 p.m. And I think this is a clear win for the Eagles. I think that everybody will see this Eagles win. But just to, I want to find, because I want to see the injury report for this game, just to see just so we can see what players are going to be out. And for the Giants, it says Dexter Lawrence is questionable, who is a great player for them. On their defensive line. And Darren Waller I want to say Darren Waller's playing. He's either coming back this week or he came back last week. I don't remember if he played last week or not. And as for the Philadelphia Eagles, they have Darius Slay, who's out, which is a big injury for them. But I still think that it's going to be an easy win. Avonte Maddox is also out, so they're missing 2 cornerbacks. But I still think that that's a win for the Eagles. I think that it'll be a great rushing game for Jalen Hurts, especially if Dexter Lawrence doesn't end up playing, or even with an injury if he plays. I think it'll be a great rushing game for Jalen Hurts. Devontae Smith has a knee injury, but it doesn't say he's questionable, so I think they'll be okay with that. And even if he was, they have A.J. Brown, so this seems like an obvious pick for the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the New York Giants. And our final Christmas Day game is going to be the Ravens versus the 49ers at 8:15 p.m. And the 49ers are favored to win this game, but the Ravens and 49ers both have an 11-3 record. And I'm going to take the underdogs in this game. I'm going to go with the Ravens. I say the Ravens beat the 49ers. And we'll go over the injuries. We have Juwan Jennings is out, but they'll be fine. They have Deebo Samuel. This is for the 49ers before I start listing off these guys. But we have Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk for the 49ers, so I don't think that'll be a problem with Juwan Jennings being out. Elijah Mitchell is questionable at running back. And it seems like that's some of the big injuries they had. And for the Ravens, they have Zay Flowers questionable with a foot injury, and Odell Beckham is his status is unknown. It says that he has an illness, and he did not participate in practice. So, with the Ravens having 2 of their receivers injured, or potentially not playing, I should say, I think that this will be a hard game to win, but I think that Lamar Jackson will be able to get it done. Even though the 49ers have a great defense, the Ravens also have a pretty good defense. And I think that we'll see a shocking loss from the 49ers. And I think that this will be a more of a rushing game from the Ravens with the injuries that they have in their receivers. But I could totally see Lamar Jackson scrambling the ball a lot, but I think that'll be hard for him just because of that 49ers defense, like I said. But I still have the Ravens coming out on top with the win. And I want to say the 49ers so bad, but I have to take the underdog in this situation just because they're both really good teams, and I really want to see the Ravens win just because, like I just said, they're the underdogs. So I'm going to stick with the Ravens. And I think that's all I really have to say about this game. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks on Sunday. here on the Hoops and Stuff podcast.